side. And even though she was from a good Peranakan family, she was often in those white, puffed up English lace dresses that women of fashion increasingly wore. My mother was mortified that someone that woman had introduced to me had become such a good match for me. So she doubled her efforts and introduced a whole harem of women. But love is love. And you can't deny it when Cupid's arrow strikes. I was in love, and so was she. Her family really liked me, and my family, they hated her. Evelyn was Christian, and should only marry me if I converted. My mother was triumphant.
See what a punishment heaven has sent us to. That woman, she has taken your son away with a Christian.
My mother said the word Christian as if it was a disease. My parents railed at me. They told me that they were going to die and remain in the 18 gates of hell because they won't have descendants to send them out properly or to make offerings when they're gone.
Jonathan falls to his knees in front of the chair.
I cried and I pleaded. I promised my father I would never fail to do my duties as a son, even if I got married in a Christian church. My father just sat in the chair and he looked away. It was the first time in my life that I saw him cry. And even though my mother and father had been cold to each other since the arrival of the second wife, for the first time, I saw the two of them holding hands together in support of each other against my decision. I guess my controversial marriage did have some good side effects on their marriage after all. I married Evelyn to my parents' dismay, but fortunately for me, I had a bright, charming, and talented wife. It took years, but she managed to win over my parents' heart eventually, even though, as they often reminded each other, that she was a
Christian.
I hate that chair. I've always hated it. It was the source of so many bad memories and troubles for me. First of all, it was the favorite chair of my mother and father-in-law. It's like they took turns sitting on it. But that's no reason to hate a chair, right? Well, it's not really the chair. It's just the memory of seeing them always stiffen themselves, ramrod straight whenever I walked into the room. And they would slightly, very slightly, turn their body away as I came in, as if I was a bad smell or something. I knew they didn't agree with my religion, but what was wrong with being a Christian? I hated all those idols in our house that the two old fogies prayed to, and all that dust from the joss sticks. But I didn't make a fuss of it. But they did. They still bloody mean to me. Oops. Excuse me. I didn't mean to swear. Sister Teresa would have glared at me for that. You see, convent girls were prized as wives by some Peranakan families because they thought we were brought up correctly. We knew how to sit with our knees together and our ankles crossed. It was like insurance, if you know what I mean. Anyway, like the thickest plant that pushes its way to the concrete crack in the wall and grows into a tree, I slowly wore down their stubbornness and day by day made them appreciate me more and more. Ma, you look tired. Come, let me tumble your bag for you. Pa, you want a cup our longan tea? I bought the dried longan specially for you. Ma! Your bak-chang so sedap. You must teach me how to make them. I'm so bad at cooking. Not like you. Just because we know how to cross our legs doesn't mean that we are helpless, you know. We convent girls also know how to have our own way. One morning, my father-in-law presented me with a puppy. An imported poodle! I've never received a gift from that man before. I was so touched. I finally felt totally loved in this family. In fact, my darling Jonathan had only earlier in the week bought me a whole set of lovely Victorian furniture for the large 6-bedroom home we lived in. He has made some money on a business deal, and he surprised me with furniture I had been eyeing. I felt that finally, everything was going right for me. So the next day, my lovely poodle frisking around in my heels, I redecorated. And of course, I threw out all the old things that didn't match all the new things in the house. We'll get rid of this, and this, and this, and this! How was I to know you were a family heirloom? How was I to know that some ancestor of Jonathan's carried it on his back into his matrimonial home all the way from China? The old man and old woman threw up such a fuss. They accused me of trying to sabotage the family heritage, and all the anti-Christian hatred in them welled up again. And this time, Jonathan was on their side. I had to chase the Karanguni man all the way half across town. I sold him the chair as junk, and now I had to buy it back from him as an antique 1 day later.
The sounds of sirens, great lights come on. Edmond looks around, confused, shocked. The sounds of pandemonium and marching feet. Jonathan runs in, Edmond runs out, panic, crying.
Oh my god! Oh my god! What's happening?
It was so sudden. It was unthinkable. All my British friends at the club had been saying how invincible the forts in Singapore were. They were laughing and partying when all the countries around us were falling. And then it came. The Japanese invasion. When the Japanese rushed in, the colonial masters were looking in the wrong direction. They were probably looking in the crystal wine glasses and shouting, "Rule Britannia! Rule Britannia!" Huh. Wrap all the valuables, put it in the servants' quarters, put a stack of boxes on top of it so that no one will see.
But all our lovely Victorian furniture, how can we hide all of them?
No time! Just drag this check to the servants' quarters and go!
What? This check?
Do it, go! I have to make sure that the secret underground basement is unlocked so that we can go in. Just do what I say! Just go!
I didn't think. I tied my jewelry boxes to my bag and just dragged the chair away. Most of the servants had run away in fear. The 1 or 2 who remained helped me with the old folk and the children. After we covered the chair with the sheet, rags, and old cartons, I went out because I had my poodle yell. When I went into the garden, no! I saw my puppy lying motionless on the road. It was bleeding from its head. A troop of Japanese soldiers were marching away.
Are you mad? Come
They
in!
killed Snowy! They killed Snowy! I rushed out of my husband's arms and brought back my dead dog. Then there was a commotion from the back of our house. My husband ran back to find out what it was. I was in shock. I went to the backyard and started to dig a grave for Snowy. It's like I wanted to dig a hole big enough to bury this whole bad dream. Jonathan was the... I saw a Japanese officer and 6 soldiers, and my husband tied up. The officer wanted to know what I was doing. I showed him Snowy's dog collar. Woof woof! officer did not believe me. And he made me dig all the way down again to show him. Only when he saw Snowy's dead body did he believe me. At that point, I really hated them. I hated them with all my soul. What did we ever do to them? For them to do this to us? Not finding any buried treasure angered the officer. They dragged Jonathan away, tied him up, and locked him in the bedroom of the main house. They made me go back to the servants' quarters where the rest of the family were hiding. They ripped everything apart. And they found the old chair. At first, they thought they had found where we hidden the valuables. But when they tore up the old cartons and rags, they found nothing.
Where is money? Gold.
Other soldiers came and took everything away. We have nothing. Nothing.
You tell me where is money?
No money. All gone. All taken.
You did not tell me.
His breath was sour and his sweat smelled bad. I was so disgusted. No money! It takes forever for hard wood to burn, you know. But I sat there, alone, for a whole hour, and watched the chair burn, till there was little left but charred pieces of bread. Later, I told the old folks that the Japanese did it. They stayed in our home for 2 days, ate all our food and left, taking my husband with them for questioning. I found out later that they took a lot of men who had dealings with the British for questioning. Some of them never returned.
Lights fade to black on the evening. When it comes up, an older man is standing in the corner of the stage.
When you've lived through a war, you remember everything. My mother and father, Jonathan and Evelyn, they survived the war. Not only did they survive the war, they survived with a lot of their wealth intact. My mother used to proudly tell us,
You know, that poodle Snowy was a total darling. He not only saved my life, he saved the family fortune.
what had happened. My mother had all her valuables and a lot of father's gold bars and cash strapped to her back while she was burying Snowy. But before she placed his body in the hole, she threw in all our precious belongings and then put Snowy's body on top of all of that. The Japanese soldiers, the officer, saw Snowy dead, but he didn't check under Snowy's body. We owed Snowy our family fortunes. In fact, it was precisely because of that stashed fortune that mother was able to bribe people to free father. We heard that many people in his camp didn't survive the interrogation. I was only a little boy then. But these things you remember. Remember everything. 1945, 1981, 36 years. But it all seems like a blink. All these younger people below 30 years of age, They seem so different. I envy them so much. They have never seen war, so they can afford to be bright, confident, hopeful. My generation is the lost generation. We never know what's happening. When the British were here, it was, we all trying to be British, old boy. And when the Japanese were here, it was Ohayo gozaimasu. We were forced to learn Japanese. And now, it's 1981. You would think we could just go back to the good old days before the war. But what do I see? Posters saying, if you are Chinese, speak Mandarin. What sort of a campaign is that? I don't need a campaign to tell me if I'm Chinese or not. We Peranakans of old, we know more, practice more culture, know how to address each family, each generation. We know more culture than these Mandarin spouting youths of today. If you are Chinese, speak Mandarin. What do you mean? I am not Chinese? I am pure Peranakan Chinese and proud of it.
Lights black out on Jonathan Jr., lights up on Dr. Aaron Lim.
When he was my age, that is 42 this year, my father became a Singaporean. He had been a proud subject of the British Empire, Malaysian, always a Peranakan, and then he became a Singaporean. I'm not sure what it meant to him, but he passed away at 77. He didn't know politics, but my father was damn sure who he was. Me? Sometimes I'm less sure. The other day, I walked into my daughter's room. She's having her university holidays. She cannot speak a word of Baba Patois, but she's beating slippers. Honestly, her slippers are not as nice as Granny's, but I told her that it's beautiful. It's not a lie, it's encouragement. My wife is not Peranakan, although she wore the kebaya on the day that we got married. Her recipes are not like mom, but they get better each day. They grow in love. My younger daughter is asking me many questions about her grandparents. I'm really too busy to answer them. So once in a while, I'll bring her to a coffee shop in Katong, and I try to remember and answer all her questions. You see, you can see our culture as half gone or half remaining. I think a lot more these days. I tell myself, when our ancestors came, they had to rebuild their everything all over again. If you're truly Peranakan, you will never be afraid to start again. This old church. I know you all are saying, but it was burnt, wasn't it? Let me tell you the secret. This chair was burned and destroyed during World War II. Not by the Japanese soldier, but by my grandmother. Because she had so much bad memories that she did burn it. But when my grandmother realized that my grandfather is going to be released from camp, she went through pains to have another chair made. She was an artist, my grandmother. She drew out a chair, sold a lot of her jewelries, and had an exact replica made. Well, when my grandfather was released from camp, his eyesight was really poor, so he didn't know that this is a new chair. But he loved the new chair as he did the old one. I said, "But Grandma, this is not the same chair that great-great-grandfather brought down from China."
We Peranakans created everything from scratch again when we first came here. So I replaced the chair. It doesn't matter where the wood came from or how old or young the craftsman is. Like our culture, new chair is beautifully crafted. Look at how beautiful the flowers and leaves are carved in the precious wood. It is a labor of love, and it will one day be as good as the old one. But it will become special only if we take the trouble to find out why it is important and never forget how to love it. It is the spirit and not the thing that makes it special.
The mother and girl enter. The mother is Mrs. Aaron Lin, and the girl his daughter. Papa, let's go and eat. It's time for dinner. I'm eating Choo tonight.
Can smell from here already. Smells sedap.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you had a wonderful time. For the next few minutes, we'll just have to open Q&A. And if anyone of you have any questions, ask during the show. As you know, this is only a dramatized reading. It's not really a full play yet. So it's still a work in progress. So if you have any questions, let's go. I will. Yes, young man.
Is the story based on true story? Is it? Okay, it's not. Is it on? Can you hear me? It's not based on a specific story, but it's based on a lot of research on Peranakan families on what they went through. Okay, it's true that they came all the way from China to Malacca first before they came to Singapore and Penang. So actually, most of them sailed to Malacca first before they came to Singapore. At that time, Malacca was a much more busy port than Singapore. So it took a while before the British came and set up the port here, and then people started coming down here to Singapore. And later, they came directly from China. But earlier on, they were off from Malacca. So little facts like that were real. Of course, during earlier times, people had multiple wives. That's why you have a second wife in the story and all that. So all that was all part of history. Yeah. So factually, it was accurate, but it's not like somebody's story. Yeah. Anyone else? They ask the director too. Yes.
Is there a reason why he stole a chair instead of a gum chair? Because I carrying a chair is much more.
No, that's why